The Federation survey ship Lumina dropped out of hyperspace with a subtle ripple against the blackness. Captain Vel stood on the bridge, 4 arms crossed in what his species considered a posture of contemplation. His large, faceted eyes reflected the blue-green planet filling the main view screen. Curious, he noted, mandibles clicking softly. Earth was classified as a dead world 97 standard cycles ago. Sensors show significant energy signatures and artificial structures. His second-in-command, Lax, consulted the ship's database. Records indicate human civilization collapsed after the Sagittarius Plague. The species was predicted to go extinct within a decade. Yet the evidence before them told a different story. Cities sprawled across continents. Satellites orbited in precise formations. Energy signatures indicated advanced power systems. Humans were resilient, Vel said, recalling historical accounts of the species that had briefly participated in galactic affairs before their presumed extinction. Prepare a contact team. The Federation Council will want immediate information. 6 hours later, Vel led a small delegation to the planet's surface, landing in a designated area outside a gleaming metropolis. The landscape showed signs of previous devastation. Old ruins incorporated into new structures, ancient highways partially reclaimed by nature alongside modern transportation systems. A group of humans awaited them. Vel recognized the species, immediately from historical records, albeit with subtle differences. These humans stood taller than their ancestors, with more defined musculature and unusual golden flecks in their irises. One stepped forward. "I'm Mark, representing Earth's United Government. Welcome back to our world." Vel performed the Federation's formal greeting. "We believed your species had perished." Mark smiled, a gesture Vel recalled meant either amusement or social bonding. "Nearly. The plague reduced Earth's population to fewer than 10 million. But here we are." "Without any contact from the Federation for almost a century?" Lax asked suspiciously. "Your Federation declared Earth a quarantine zone and departed," Mark replied without rancor. "When no ships returned, we assumed the galaxy had written us off. So we rebuilt. Alone." Vel studied the skyline. "You've accomplished remarkable recovery in isolation." "Necessity breeds innovation," Mark gestured, toward the city. "Would you like to see what humanity has been doing while the galaxy wasn't watching?" As their transport approached the city, Vel observed the architectural contradictions, structures that seemed simultaneously primitive and advanced. The vehicle itself used no recognizable propulsion system, moving in silence without visible energy emissions. "Our records indicate humans possessed mid-level technology before the plague," Vel noted. "Yet some of what I'm observing appears to exceed Federation standards." Mark nodded. "When 95% of your species dies, conventional thinking becomes optional. We explored paths others dismissed." Vel felt a sensation his species rarely experienced: genuine unease. In the Federation's 20,000-year history, civilizations followed predictable technological progressions. What had humans become in their isolation? "The Federation Council will be most interested in re-establishing formal relations," Vel said carefully. Mark's expression remained pleasant, but his eyes, those unusual eyes with golden flecks, hardened slightly. "That would be nice. But humanity has learned to thrive without the galaxy's help. The question is, what does the galaxy have to offer humanity?" The Federation base camp hummed with activity as scientists analyzed data from Earth. Vel reviewed reports with mounting astonishment. According to all previous understanding, humans should be extinct. Mark joined him in the monitoring station, carrying 2 containers of steaming liquid, coffee, a human stimulant. "Finding anything interesting?" he asked, offering one to Vel accepted the beverage cautiously. His species could process most carbon-based nutrients. "Your survival defies explanation. The Sagittarius Plague was specifically devastating to human physiology." "We adapted," Mark said simply, sipping his coffee. "Species don't simply adapt to engineered biological weapons in a single generation," Lax interjected from her workstation. Mark's expression shifted subtly. "Engineered? The Federation told us it was a natural pathogen." An uncomfortable silence fell. Vel chose his words carefully. "The origin of the plague remains contested in Federation records. I see. Mark set down his cup. Well, contested or not, a small percentage of humans carried a genetic anomaly. The plague activated something dormant in our DNA. Some theorize it was left by ancient genetic experimentation thousands of years before we achieved spaceflight. Vel's scientific mind engaged immediately. A latent genetic sequence that provided immunity? More than immunity, Mark replied. The survivors underwent cellular restructuring. We're still human, but enhanced. Stronger immune systems, improved cellular regeneration, slightly increased lifespan. The golden flecks in our eyes are a side effect of increased optical efficiency. Lax approached, scanning Mark with a handheld device. This is unprecedented. The plague nearly killed us all, Mark continued. But those who survived passed these traits to their children. Each generation has shown further stabilization of the changes. Vel processed this information against centuries of biological understanding. And the Federation simply abandoned you during this transformation. Earth was quarantined when infection rates hit 70%. Your ships stopped responding to our transmissions soon after. Mark's tone remained neutral, but Vel detected underlying tension. For decades, we focused purely on survival, then rebuilding. Eventually, we realized no one was coming back. The Federation Council operated on available information, Vel said, feeling strangely defensive. All models predicted human extinction. Mark smiled thinly. Never bet against human survival instinct, Captain. Later, reviewing sensor data privately, Vel discovered something the humans hadn't mentioned. Their genetic changes weren't stabilizing. They were continuing along a clear evolutionary path. Whatever the plague had activated was still unfolding within human DNA. The Federation abandoned them to die, Lax noted quietly, reviewing the same data. Instead, they're becoming something new. Something potentially beyond Federation evolutionary models, Vel agreed. The Council must be informed immediately. They'll order containment protocols, Lax warned. Standard procedure for unpredictable biological developments. Vel stared at the genetic models. I'm not certain the Federation is equipped to contain whatever humanity is becoming. Mark guided Vel through a research facility built within a mountain. Unlike the gleaming perfection of Federation installations, the human complex displayed a peculiar aesthetic, functional yet almost haphazard, with evidence of continuous modification and improvement. Our Energy Research Division, Mark explained, as they entered a massive chamber dominated by a device Vel couldn't identify. It resembled nothing in Federation technical archives, a seemingly chaotic arrangement of crystalline structures and pulsing conduits. What am I observing? Vel asked, genuinely puzzled. We call it a gravimetric inversion matrix, Mark replied. It generates energy by exploiting dimensional boundary inconsistencies. Vel's translator stumbled over the concept. That's theoretically impossible. Dimensional boundaries are stable by definition. According to whose definition? A human scientist approached, introducing herself as Lin. We discovered micro-fluctuations in space-time fabric that occur naturally but predictably. This system harvests energy from those fluctuations. Vel studied the apparatus with new interest. Federation science abandoned such research thousands of years ago. The energy yields were deemed insufficient for practical application. Lin smiled. We improved the efficiency. This facility powers our entire western continent. Throughout the complex, Vel observed similar departures from established technological progression. Humans had developed computing systems using biological components rather than quantum matrices. Their materials science had explored crystalline metallic alloys the Federation had never considered viable. Your technological path is unconventional, Vel noted as they observed a weapons testing range where researchers were developing defense systems based on sound wave manipulation. Necessity, Mark repeated his explanation from earlier. Without access to Federation technology or trade networks, we explored alternatives. Some failed. Others led to unexpected breakthroughs. Like your propulsion systems, Vel ventured. His team had been unable to identify how human vehicles functioned, despite careful scanning. Mark hesitated before answering. We discovered that manipulating gravitational fields requires less energy than fighting them. Our transport systems essentially create localized gravity corridors. The implications struck Vel immediately. Such technology would revolutionize Federation transportation, which still relied on brute force propulsion methods despite their advanced state. Your civilization developed all this in isolation, Vel? Couldn't keep the disbelief from his voice. Humans have always been at our most innovative when facing extinction, Mark replied. The plague forced us to abandon conventional thinking. We had to try improbable solutions because the probable ones weren't available. Later, aboard the Lumina, Vel compiled his report for the Federation Council. He included detailed scans of human technology while acknowledging many systems remained incomprehensible despite advanced analysis. Lax joined him as he prepared the transmission. You're recommending full diplomatic restoration? These humans have developed along an entirely separate technological path, Vel replied. The potential benefits to Federation science are incalculable. And the potential threats? Lax countered. Their weapons development is clearly advanced, even if unconventional. Vel considered this. They survived what may have been a deliberate attempt to eradicate their species. One could hardly blame them for developing defensive capabilities. The unspoken accusation hung between them. Historical records remained ambiguous about the plague's origins, but rumors had persisted for decades about Federation involvement. The Council won't welcome this report, Lax warned. Humans were always unpredictable. Now they're unpredictable with technology we don't understand. Perhaps, Vel conceded, the galaxy needs unpredictability. The Federation has grown complacent in its stability. The Federation Council chamber fell silent as Vel concluded his presentation. 60 representatives from the dominant spacefaring species absorbed the implications of humanity's survival and advancement. Councillor Dren, representative of the ancient Meraki civilization, spoke first. This is deeply concerning. Humans were volatile and expansionist before their containment. Now they possess unconventional technologies and apparent genetic advantages. Containment? Vel questioned. The official record states Earth was quarantined due to natural plague outbreak. An uncomfortable silence fell across the chamber. Finally, High Counselor Taz sighed audibly. Captain Vel, certain historical details were simplified for general consumption. The human plague was engineered as a last resort after their government rejected Federation oversight requirements. The revelations struck Vel like a physical blow. The Federation deliberately attempted genocide. Species management, corrected Counselor Rix of the Voldari Imperium. Humans were developing too rapidly, ignoring established technological progression protocols. Projections indicated they would achieve dimensional manipulation capabilities within centuries rather than the standard millennia. The risk was deemed unacceptable. Yet they survived, Vel noted, and developed those very capabilities anyway, without guidance. Which demonstrates the original assessment was correct, Dren countered. They represent a fundamental threat to galactic stability. The chamber erupted in argument. Some counselors advocated immediate military intervention. Others suggested diplomatic incorporation with careful monitoring. A few proposed offering Federation membership as equals. Meanwhile on Earth, Mark faced his own governmental council, explaining Vel's sudden recall to Federation headquarters. They know we survived their weapon, said Defense Director Wade. They'll return in force. Perhaps, Mark replied. Or perhaps they'll recognize the opportunity. For mutual benefit. After they tried to exterminate us? Another counselor demanded. Mark walked to the window overlooking the rebuilt capital. We're not the same civilization they attempted to destroy. We should at least hear their proposal before deciding on a response. And if they propose another extermination attempt? Wade asked darkly. Mark turned, the golden flecks in his eyes catching the light. Then they'll discover we're not as easily eliminated as they once believed. Back in Federation space, Vel received new orders. The Lumina would return to Earth with a diplomatic contingent, officially to welcome humanity back into galactic society, unofficially to assess containment options. This mission compromises my ethical standings, Vel told Lax as they prepared for departure. The Federation preserves galactic stability, she replied, though her tone lacked conviction. Humans have always disrupted established progression patterns. Perhaps progression patterns should occasionally be disrupted, Vel suggested. The Federation hasn't produced a significant technological breakthrough in 300 years. These humans created several in less than a century. As the diplomatic fleet assembled, news of humanity's survival spread throughout Federation space. Among younger species, excitement grew about the return of humans, figures of legend known for their creativity and determination. Among older powers, concern mounted about the political and technological disruption humans might cause. Vel studied Earth's image on his view screen, wondering what reception awaited them, and whether the Federation truly comprehended what humanity had become during their isolation. The Federation diplomatic fleet dropped out of hyperspace near Earth's orbit to find an unexpected greeting. A dozen sleek vessels of unfamiliar design, arranged in precise formation, clearly military in nature, though bearing no visible weapons. Human Defense Force, reported Lax. Configuration unknown. Federation Ambassador Jor, a tall, serpentine, Nevidian, observed the screen with narrow-pupilled eyes. Curious. Our intelligence indicated humans possessed minimal orbital capability. Our intelligence has proven consistently incorrect regarding humans, Vel noted dryly. The diplomatic vessel established communication. Mark's face appeared on the main screen, now wearing a formal uniform denoting leadership rank. Federation representatives, he greeted them. Earth acknowledges your approach. Please maintain current position while we establish security protocols. Ambassador, Jor slithered forward. This is highly irregular. Diplomatic vessels maintain sovereign rights under Federation code. Earth is not a Federation member, Mark interrupted smoothly. We operate under our own protocols. Your vessels will remain at designated coordinates until security verification completes. The transmission ended before Jor could respond. Outrageous, the ambassador sputtered. Captain Vel, move us into standard orbital approach. Vel hesitated. With respect, Ambassador, I recommend compliance. We don't understand their defensive capabilities. They're a recovering civilization with limited resources. Jor dismissed the concern. The Federation will not be dictated to by humans. Under orders, the diplomatic vessel moved forward, breaking from the designated holding position. Immediately, 2 human ships intercepted, moving with impossible speed and precision. Energy surge detected, reported the tactical officer. Unknown type. Before evasive action could be taken, the Federation ship shuddered. All systems went dark momentarily before auxiliary power engaged. What happened? Demanded Jor. Some form of targeted electromagnetic pulse, Vel replied, checking systems. Propulsion and weapons are offline. Life support and communications remain functional. Mark's face reappeared on screen. That was a demonstration, not an attack. Your primary systems will restart in 1 hour. Perhaps next time you'll respect boundaries when visiting someone else's home. Later, as the diplomatic team transferred to Earth via shuttle, the mood was tense. The Federation representatives had expected to negotiate from a position of strength. The effortless neutralization of their vessel had shattered that illusion. In Earth's rebuilt Geneva, the diplomatic reception revealed further surprises. Human technology, while visibly different from Federation standards, demonstrated sophistication that shouldn't have been possible for an isolated civilization recovering from near extinction. You mentioned security protocols, Ambassador Jor said to Mark during the formal reception. Earth shows no evidence of planetary defense systems in our scans. Mark smiled. We found traditional defenses inefficient. Our approach is more distributed. When pressed for clarification, Mark led the Federation delegation to a monitoring center beneath the city. There, holographic displays showed hundreds of small objects throughout the solar system. Autonomous defense platforms, Mark explained. They identified your fleet the moment it began deceleration toward our system. Had your intentions been hostile, none of your vessels would have reached Earth orbit. Impossible, one Federation military advisor objected. No detection system can identify ships in hyperspace. Yours can't, Mark agreed. Ours can. The implications silenced the Federation delegation. Their military advantage, the ability to arrive undetected, had apparently been neutralized by human innovation. As they returned to the surface, Ambassador Jor addressed Mark privately. The Federation Security Council has authorized me to discuss Earth's reintegration into galactic society. Reintegration suggests we were ever truly integrated, Mark replied. History suggests otherwise. The past contained miscalculations, Jor conceded reluctantly. The Federation now recognizes humanity's right to exist. Mark's expression hardened slightly. How magnanimous to acknowledge our right to exist after attempting to eradicate us. But existence isn't the question anymore. Ambassador, the question is coexistence, on equal terms. The Federation Council convened an emergency session as reports from Earth continued to confound expectations. What had begun as a diplomatic mission to manage humanity's return had become increasingly complicated. They refuse standard integration protocols, Ambassador Jor reported. They demand recognition as a sovereign power with full territorial autonomy. Unacceptable, declared Councillor Dren. All species must adhere to technological development guidelines and territorial expansion limitations. High Councillor Taz raised a quieting hand. Yet we have confirmed their technological capabilities exceed projections. Attempting enforcement could prove problematic. The debate continued for hours, with the Council deeply divided. The older species advocated for containment and control. Younger members suggested accommodation and alliance. The session was interrupted when the Chamber's security systems reported an unauthorized approach. On the massive view screen appearing above the Council table, a human transport vessel materialized, inside the Council station's supposedly impenetrable defensive perimeter. Impossible, whispered Dren. No ship can penetrate phase shielding. Yet the evidence hovered before them, a sleek Earth vessel unlike any design in Federation records. A communication request flashed across monitoring systems. With reluctant authorization from High Councillor Taz, the connection opened. Mark appeared on screen, now formally identified as Earth's Director of Interstellar Relations. Esteemed Councillors, he began politely. I apologize for the unconventional arrival, but traditional diplomatic channels seemed insufficient for our message. This station is protected by 16 layers of security, Taz responded, maintaining remarkable composure. Your presence here is theoretically impossible. The theoretically impossible is humanity's speciality, Mark replied with a slight smile. We've had nearly a century to explore unconventional approaches to physics while the Federation thought us extinct. The implied threat wasn't lost on anyone present. If humans could bypass the Federation's most advanced defensive systems, what else might they be capable of? State your purpose, Taz instructed, signaling security forces to stand down. I bring 2 pieces of information the Federation Council should consider during your deliberations about Earth, Mark said. First, we've discovered your monitoring probes in 6 Earth systems. Yes, we've established colonies beyond our home world, another theoretical impossibility according to your models of our capabilities. Stunned silence met this revelation. Humanity had achieved interstellar expansion without using the Federation's controlled wormhole network. Second, Mark continued, we've recovered historical records from your own databases regarding the true nature of the Sagittarius Plague. We know it was engineered specifically to eliminate humanity when conventional political containment failed. Several councillors shifted uncomfortably at this direct acknowledgement of the Federation's darkest secret. These facts inform our position, Mark concluded. Earth does not seek Federation membership. We seek recognition as an independent interstellar power with sovereign control over our existing territories and technological development path. And if the Federation rejects these terms? Asked Councillor Dren. Mark's expression remained pleasant, but his eyes, those unsettling eyes with golden flecks, hardened. Then we'll continue our independent existence anyway. The question is whether that existence parallels yours peacefully or not. After Mark's ship departed, as mysteriously as it had arrived, the council chamber erupted in chaotic debate. Vel, present as an expert witness, observed the proceedings with growing certainty that the Federation faced a pivotal moment in its long history. They've achieved interstellar travel without our wormhole network, one scientific advisor explained. This suggests drive technology beyond our current understanding. And established colonies without detection, added a security counselor. Our monitoring systems are supposedly comprehensive. High Councillor Taz finally called for order. It appears we face a simple choice. Acknowledge humanity as an interstellar power with independent status, or the alternative remained unspoken but clear to everyone present. War with a species that had survived attempted genocide and emerged stronger, with technology the Federation didn't fully understand. One standard year after humanity's formal recognition as an independent interstellar power, Captain Vel found himself approaching Earth again, this time commanding a joint mission of scientific and cultural exchange. The Lumina had been retrofitted with several human technological innovations, a physical symbol of the evolving relationship between civilizations. Mark greeted him at the newly constructed orbital station, serving as neutral ground between Federation and human space. "The modifications to your ship's gravitational displacement system are performing well?" Mark asked after formal greetings. "Beyond expectations," Vel confirmed. "Efficiency has increased by 43%. The Federation Science Directorate is still reverse engineering the principles involved." "Collaboration accelerates understanding," Mark noted as they walked through the station's broad corridors, where representatives of 20 species mingled with humans. "Your propulsion expertise combined with our gravitational manipulation creates something better than either approach alone." Vel noted how much had changed in a relatively short time. After centuries of stability, the Federation was experiencing rapid technological advancement through cautious collaboration with humans. Meanwhile, humanity had gained access to the accumulated knowledge of thousands of civilizations. "The Arcturus situation concerns me," Vel admitted as they reached a private conference room. The Arcturus system's star had begun destabilizing months earlier, threatening 3 heavily populated Federation worlds with destruction. "We've reviewed the data." Mark activated a holographic display showing the dying star. "Federation evacuation procedures are commendable, but unnecessary. We believe the star can be stabilized." "Impossible," Vel replied automatically, then caught himself. "Though I'm learning that word has limited application regarding human innovation." Mark smiled. "Our understanding of gravimetric manipulation applies to stellar physics. The same principles that power our cities can reinforce Arcturus's stellar envelope." 3 weeks later, Vel stood on the observation deck of the Lumina, watching as human vessels positioned themselves around Arcturus. Federation scientists had reviewed the human proposal with initial skepticism that had gradually shifted to cautious hope. If successful, billions of lives and centuries of civilization would be preserved. "Energy signatures detecting," reported Lax, now his first officer, consistent with their demonstration models. The human ships activated their devices simultaneously. For several minutes, nothing seemed to happen. Then sensors detected subtle changes in the star's output, fluctuations stabilizing, radiation levels normalizing. "They've actually done it," whispered a Federation scientist. "They're healing a dying star." Later, as celebrations spread throughout the Arcturus system, Vel found a quiet moment with Mark. "You could have demanded significant concessions for this intervention," Vel noted. "Yet Earth asked for nothing in return." "We remember what it means to face extinction," Mark replied. "The Federation once deemed humanity too unpredictable to exist. Perhaps unpredictability is exactly what the galaxy needed." Vel considered this. The Federation achieved stability through predictability. Species following established development patterns, technological advancement occurring at managed rates. And stagnation as the cost, Mark added. How many potentially revolutionary ideas were abandoned because they didn't fit established models? As they watched the stabilized star through the viewscreen, Vel reflected on the rapid changes transforming galactic society. Human approaches to physics, medicine, and computing were revitalizing fields that had seen little innovation for centuries. Federation diplomatic traditions and cultural frameworks were helping humanity navigate interstellar relationships without repeating historical conflicts. "Evolution requires disruption," Vel said finally. "Perhaps the Federation needed humanity, as much as humanity needed to rejoin galactic society." Mark smiled, the now familiar golden flecks in his eyes catching the light of the renewed star. "Not as junior members requiring supervision, but as partners offering new perspectives." "The Federation Council remains divided on humanity's role," Vel admitted. "Some older species still consider humans dangerous." "We are dangerous," Mark acknowledged without apology. "Any species with the will to survive extinction becomes dangerous by necessity. The question is whether that danger is directed toward destruction or creation." As the Lumina prepared to depart Arcturus, carrying news of the star's miraculous stabilization, Vel received updated Federation intelligence reports. Human colonies had been discovered in 12 additional systems, established during their period of isolation. Their expansion continued at a pace that would have triggered containment protocols in previous eras. Yet accompanying the report came new diplomatic directives acknowledging humanity's territorial claims without challenge. A remarkable reversal of centuries of Federation policy. The galaxy was adapting to humanity's presence rather than forcing humanity to adapt to established order. Perhaps, Vel reflected as Earth diminished behind them, that was humanity's greatest contribution to the galaxy. Not their technology or resilience, but their demonstration that adaptation and evolution were preferable to stagnant stability. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same. For the first time in thousands of years, the future had become gloriously unpredictable.